What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to dive into ball python breeding. We're going to show you some tips, the process, talk about it a little bit, determine if you new guys want to get into this. I'm going to tell you based on my experience, like what I've seen. If you have any questions, let me know. Enjoy the intro. What's up, YouTube? So you guys want to breed ball pythons, huh? Alright. We're going to go over the process of this and what you need and, and the science of breeding ball pythons. I'm going to try to give you as much information as I can about this. So we're going to start from the get-go. So first thing you need a male and a female, obviously, to breed. So it depends on whether you want to buy an already adult proven breeder or if you want to buy a hatchling. Me personally, I'm going to buy a hatchling because one, it's cheaper, and two, I have fun growing them up. So they say you want to buy your female first over your male because, so now that you guys know, I'm sure most of you do, but if you're just now getting into this and just now following the channel, you need to be able to breed a female around 1,500 grams. It's like normally when they're big enough, doesn't mean they're necessarily mature enough, but they're always big enough. So let's say that you buy that female in a year, she's up to 1,000, and now you want to buy that male. So the males need to be 500 grams or more. They've been able to go a little bit, younger, but probably not. You might get slugs and stuff like that from, the not so mature, sperm type thing. I mean, let's be real. It is what it is. It happens. So that's why I try to buy my male and my female at the same time. So I make sure that my male is just as mature as my female. Because I don't want to have a female that's ready, that's building follicles, but my male is not ready. So this is another thing of why backup males is important. Because if you have one project, you only got one male for, and that male won't walk for whatever reason, or that female doesn't like that male, won't walk with him, well, that project's kind of dead in the water right now. So this is why you need backup males, and this is why it's important to have backup males. So you want to try to have at least 2 males for a project. Honestly, the more the better. But, people's price range and, price budget, sometimes you just can't do that. But try to have at least 2. That's what I'm working for right now. I'm getting my backup males. So I've actually ran into that problem personally. A red stripe Enchi clown will not lock up to nobody at all. Like, he's just being stubborn. He might not be ready enough. He might not be mature enough. I don't know. He's big enough. He's about 800 grams. He just doesn't want to lock up yet. So it is what it is. So that's some advice for you guys. Make sure you have backup males. Okay. So make sure to, when you do these pairings and stuff, that you have a good idea of your genes. So let's say, you could be able to ID a Enchi, be able to ID a pastel, be able to ID that combo together. You get like a butterfly stamp on the head pattern, on the head stamp on that. Make sure you know how to sex snakes as well. So make sure you guys do all your research too before you really want to get into this, because it is a lot of hard work. It's a lot of time. There's a lot of effort. And figure out what is worth your time and effort to breed. Is for you to sit there to breed a 1 or 2 gene animal to a 1 or 2 gene animal, is that worth your time? Go do it. Me personally, it's not worth my time. So that's why I went a little bit more heavier on it, a little bit more higher dollar on this, more of the breeder size, because if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this big, and I'm going to put everything in on this. And I mean, let's not lie, like, everyone wants to make money, right? To me personally, I'm not going to make a lot of money just breeding 1 or 2 gene snakes. Because I'm gonna hit them regardless on some of these pairings that I just don't hit the odds on. So that's something to consider too. So let's say you did all your research on your genes. I did 5 months of research, 5-6 months, and I still talk to people about it. I always look at the new gene combos, always on Morph Market, checking out snakes, looking at combos, trying to be able to ID stuff. Now, you start mixing 5-6 genes into these snakes, it gets kind of hard. So there's kind of a theoretical idea, or a theoretical ID on a snake. So it does happen. Even the big time breeders sometimes have problems with it because there's just so many genes and so much going on. Obviously, the more you do it, the more you work with it, the better you are, the more experienced you are. There's always people out there that will give you a second opinion on it. So the reason why for this is you don't want to sit there and say that you got, we'll just say Red Stripe and Clown's worth, a decent amount of money right now, and compared to a regular, we'll just say regular Clown, and you think that it has Red Stripe in it when it doesn't. So you're going to sit there and charge, say, $3,000 for a normal Clown. Well, you can't do that because, for one, it doesn't have Red Stripe in it, but you think it does. And you don't want to, have that reputation of trying to miss ID things and overcharging people for something that's not there. So you want to try to do the best you can with your customer service, your IDs, your pricing, your market, everything's at market value. So make sure you guys have that concept down 100% before you decide you want to get into this. So after you get done with that, I went with the PVC racks. I went cheaper on my racks at the beginning because my racks weren't going to make me money. My higher end snakes were, but like I said, it takes 1-2 years, maybe 3 to grow these snakes up. So am I going to sit there and spend some money on these racks, but I only have like I said, 1 or 2 gene snakes in my racks because that's all I can afford? Probably not. So that's something to think about. I went PVC. I did the V70 Sea Serpents. He has a nice website. Check that out. I also use his incubator as well. Really good guy. So I went the V70 over here. Started off with those. Had my adults in that, and then at that point, I bought the V16s, I believe, or 18s. I think those were the 18s actually. V18 tubs I use for my hatchlings and my grow outs. So they can fit up to 700 grams, anywhere between 7 and 900 grams. I keep them, the max is 900. I keep them at about 7, and I'll switch them over to the V70. I eventually got a Freedom breeder behind me. And I got to that point where now I'm keeping all my breeders and stuff in this nicer rack because it's nice, guys. It's convenient. It holds humidity really well. I mean, these do too, don't get me wrong, but I can get way more tubs in this, and I just love it. If you know, you know. If not, go on Freedom Breeder's website, check them out. They are expensive because these racks go for anywhere between $3,000 to $4,000 depending on what you want. So with that being said, I don't use 55 tubs because I'm not going to sit there, or I don't use hatchling tubs either because you can get the V10s, I believe it is, and those are only good for around 300 grams, and you're going to have to move that snake to another tub anyhow. I'm going to put in a little bigger tub to get go regardless. Now, I'm going to go over it here in a little bit with hatchlings and stuff and like why that can possibly be a problem, but I have not experienced that problem, but there's ways to fix that problem. So to me, I wasn't going to spend all that money on having to keep transferring racks. My plan is to use the V18s, grow them up, my grow-ups, my holdbacks, whatever, doing that, and then switch them over to the Freedom Breeder V70s. Hadn't had a problem. So, let's say you get everything that you need equipment-wise. You got an incubator. I would go Sea Serpents incubator. Me personally, because I went a nice incubator I know it's going to work, because you don't want these clutches, all your hard work of a year that you've been pairing these snakes up to, which I'll go over, here in a little bit, and your incubation process be messed up. So this is why my very first clutch I did a simple pairing of Banana Mojave, the Mojave Hypo last year, guys, as you know, if you've been following this channel. So when I did that, I just did that basic pairing. It was an easy ID pairing. Obviously, it was just a test run. That's all it was. I wanted to make sure that I had everything down. I want to make sure my tub was down. I want to make sure my incubator was good. I had to make sure I had all my parameters on point. So I wasn't trying to do my first clutch that was a $30 or $20,000, $10,000 clutch, whatever, and it messed up because my parameters wasn't right. So that's what I did. So back to breeding. So let's say you got all the equipment that you needed, you guys. So now we're ready to breed. So you got these projects that you want. So you're gonna pair a male with a female. The female has to be around 1,500 grams, about 2 years or so. Power feeding isn't gonna speed this process up. It might help a little bit. I don't recommend it because it's gonna make your animal unhealthy, and it's just not good. For me, it's not good. I don't do it. So I don't like it. But anyhow, so you're gonna throw this male in with this female, okay? When he locks, if he locks, okay, you wait till they're done locking, separate them, do it again once a month after that. Keep track of everything, write it down, write down your genes, write down your pairings, because you can throw in multiple snakes if need be and play a Who's Your Daddy clutch, which I don't like, but sometimes it works out that way. And we'll go over that here in a second. So let's say you got that lock, okay? You got 5 months of this, and this happens for 5 months. We're doing this basic, simple route right now, like the best possible route, okay? Now, one snake that you want to breed, it's locking, it's pairing, cool. This female is going to keep building her follicles up. So what that means is that her eggs are getting bigger and bigger and bigger because they need to be around 30 millimeters or so for her to ovulate. So the signs of her, if you've seen this, is one, she's obviously going to look thicker. 2, she's going to start going on the hot side of the tub more often. And then she's going to end up pounding a lot of food. It's going to be to the point where you don't think that you can, feed her enough. So, I mean, it's a good sign because she's storing her fat storage so for when she goes off food, when she gets ready to lay these eggs, it's normal because her eggs are so big she can't hold food as well. So she has to choose either food or the eggs, and she's going to choose the eggs. So when she gets closer to ovulation, you'll start to see them lay on their side. They'll lay on their side, they'll bull wrap. You'll see the bull wrapping around the water cup. They're trying to cool off. They'll go more towards the cooler side the bigger she gets with the eggs and stuff. She's getting more uncomfortable. Some people do lower their temperature in the racks. I do not. It's some people help some people. It doesn't affect others. I don't do it. I haven't had to. I keep my temperatures all the same. Haven't had any problems yet. So if I do have problems, I might go to that. Might have to switch some things up. But right now, if it's not broken, don't fix it. That's what we're doing. So this is going to be a bigger year for us, I hope. All right, so let's say that, everything's looking good. She's going to go into shed. She goes into shed, it's going to be her pre-ovulation shed at some point. This is like, once you have an ovulation, she's done. Quit pairing, no need to pair no more. You're good. Stop pairing. Because at that point, you're not doing nothing. Like where a female can hold her sperm up to a year, even maybe 2 years from that male. And let's say you have another project for this female in a couple of years, and you go throw in a different male. Well, she might retain the sperm from the first male, and you might have another clutch of what you paired, say a year or so ago. So that's something to keep an eye on. Like you keep pairing after ovulation, it ain't gonna work. It's not good. So there's nothing good comes of it because she's already going to go. So what ovulation looks like is she's gonna look really big. She's gonna look like that she swallowed a football, or you can't miss it. So she'll stay swollen like that for like around 3 days. She'll come back down from her size, and then she's going to go into shed. So when she goes into shed, she's going to go into her pre-lay shed. After her pre-lay shed, she should lay anywhere between 20 to 45 days max at that point. I think the average is probably around 30, honestly. I think mine laid around 30. She was about 30 days, which is like point on. When you have the eggs, you want to pull the eggs off of the mom. I have one of these boxes here. And there's plenty of videos out there of how you set them up. And if you want to go back on the channel, I actually pulled my first clutch off of the Mojave Hypo Girl. You guys can see that and how I set this up. But you're going to put your vermiculite or vermiculite on here. Probably put about like right here. You're going to get it all wet. Do like a 1-on-1 mixture. Like when you squeeze it, you kind of want it drippy, but you don't want it soaked. You're going to flatten it all out. Put this in here like so. And then you're going to put your eggs on there. If you can separate the eggs, great. If not, leave them be. You want them close to each other. Lock it. I use press and seal as well on this. Helps with the humidity. And then I throw it in the incubator. You want your incubator parameters around 90. Around 90 is probably about ideal in the incubator. Then after that, you should wait probably about 60 days, and you should have them pip. At least one. When one pips, you can cut the eggs. When you can cut that egg, you can check out to see if they're all good, healthy. Leave them in the egg. Wait for them to absorb all their yolk. They should come out on their own in a couple of days. When they're out on their own, I get rid of the vermiculite. I throw them on paper towels at that point, clean them all up, and then they will go in the shed in probably about 1 to 2 weeks, depending on the snake. Once they are done with their shed, you can then obviously put them in their own tub, separate them. You can at that point sex them if need be. If that's or unless you want to wait, doesn't matter when you want to sex them. So like I said, make sure you know how to sex your snakes, because the price of that one matters as well, and it can help you with your holdbacks and your projects too, obviously. So then at that point, I'll throw them in the V18 tubs behind me, back here, guys. You can, or a hatchling tub, whatever. I use the V18s. Haven't had a problem with them. All mine ate right away. They don't eat. You can throw in clutter in there. You can just try different tricks, see if they can get them on the food. I start off with a live ASF, a smaller one, get them going. If that doesn't work, you can do a small pinky, a small hopper, you know, anything like that, a mouse, anything to try to get them to go. I say if they don't go after 4 weeks, you're probably going to start to assist feed. If you don't know how to do assist feed, I'd probably take it to a vet and let them do it for you. It's not the most pleasant thing to do. It's really not. It's kind of not fun. I haven't had to do it yet, but I know Carr has, and based off me hearing his experience, it's not fun. So with that being said as well, make sure that if you are going to breed, that you have an emergency vet, you know, nearby, just in case something does go wrong, say an egg bound or an infection, because I did go through an infection with one of the snakes. He did lose a tooth, he got infected, and his whole face just swelled up. So he was on antibiotics, I had to give him shots. So that is something to, you know, keep in mind as well. I also have a F13 antibacterial cream too for scale rot if it happens, or if they get a wound, I can clean it up. So it's something to consider. When we do that, you know, it's just, I'd rather have it than not, honestly, because I was happy when I had that. So back to the snakes. So then you want to establish them five meals. After 5 meals, you can either sell them or you can keep them. It doesn't really matter. And that's pretty much how you breed ball pythons, guys. Make sure you do your research. I hope this helped out a little bit. If you guys need any tips or tricks, let me know. I hope you enjoyed the video. See ya.